What have you been reading?
The person-centered book.
So person-centered book. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What topics, which bits are you on?
It's been talking, it's still early on in the book, so it's about like the self-structure and the experience, so then how they can conflict, and if the self-structure and the experience conflict, then you're less likely to kind of integrate that. So you would, like, is it incongruency?
Yeah. But what does self-structure mean?
Self-structure is like the kind of beliefs that you have about yourself. So I think it says that you would have often picked that up in childhood through the ways that you would have interacted with parents or teachers or caregivers and just people around you. So if I'm trying to think of an example, if you're like playing in a certain way and then you get told that you can't do it that way, then you would think, oh well, I'm not allowed to like run around like crazy or jump on the couch. And then I was just going to say, then all of the experiences that you have moving forward, the light's gone off, you would experience the one behind you.
Yeah, so you just said about the self-structure, and then you said about the experiences. And then you were just going to you were kind of explaining a bit about that.
Yeah. I forgot what I was like going to say, but I think I was going to say something along the lines of, so then every time you had a similar experience moving forward in your life, then the beliefs and the self-structure will change, like how you interact kind of moving forward. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it, I think.
What you're saying is that, so with the self-structure and then the experiences, and there's the bit where you're saying about how if to get the incongruence is if those experiences don't align with the self-structure. Yeah. And that's what you've been reading about. Yeah. So if we see the self-structure as a bit like identity, and then when you have experiences that don't fall in line with that, you then, well, what does it say that happens?
So there's like a conflict, and then you can either, I can't remember the exact terminology, but you kind of like, you deny it in some kind of way.
So you're saying basically, if you have some experience then that doesn't fit with your self-structure, you deny it or you reject it. Yeah. And you don't integrate it into your like self-structure, your identity. Yeah. So then if you have a self-structure, you have an experience that fits with that, then you will integrate it, and then you're congruent. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Really interesting. So if I like to view it as like the identity bit. Yeah. So then if your experience is different to what your identity is, you fight to protect your identity. Yeah. And then if you think about how memory works, and so each day we wake up, we use our memory of our identity to kind of hold on to that because we want something fixed and stable. Yeah. So then, because we want it to be fixed and stable, anything that isn't within that, so any experience we have that doesn't fit with it, we'll fight it. But that's when it causes problems and incongruence. Yeah. So if you find a way to integrate it or to have a more fluid or flexible identity, self-concept. Yeah. Did you say self-concept?
No, I didn't. But
that's what it says in the book as well.
Is it?
But
okay.
What did you say it was?
Experience.
Self-structure.
Self-structure.
Yeah, self-concept. They're the same, like interchangeable.
Yeah.
So, so then if it's more fluid, you'll be able to adapt and have new experiences, change your self-concept or your self-structure, and so it changes your identity. But that's a scary thing, because if you had it so fluid that it was changing all the time, you wouldn't know who you were. Yeah, of course. But then we need to find a way to integrate all of those experiences and like weigh them up to see what's worth integrating, what's not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think there was a bit that just reminded me, there was a bit kind of related to that, where it was saying as well that if you have like experiences that kind of conflict with your self-structure, then you can misinterpret like that experience. So you might think it means something about you rather than being like kind of subjective about the experience as well.
Yeah.
So like if you're talking to someone and they yawn, for example, if your self structure is that you're a boring person, just because they've yawned doesn't mean that you are boring. It could just be that they're tired or whatever's going on in the day.
So then the more rigid the self structure is, the more problems that creates, because you will think, no, it's because I'm boring. So then if the thing, I've got a few different thoughts, because if you yawn, and it depends on your attachment style as well, you'll look at different facial expressions and different things that people do, and you'll interpret it in different ways. So each attachment style is like a professional or a pro at assessing different facial expressions.
Okay.
So that kind of ties in, because obviously one theory doesn't just fit everything. Knock the mic. So then if we just keep going with person-centered though, as you then think I'm boring, but then if you're in a place where you can evaluate it and then change, like you said, say that they might be tired, then you can change your experience of it, can't you? And it slightly adapts your self-structure. So if we go back to the fluid bit, so if it's extremely fluid and loose, so you don't know who you are, that's bad. But if you have it so that you're open, so if you've got openness as part of your self-structure, then when you get new experiences, you can weigh it up, look at it and kind of say, is this valid? Does it fit with like what I've been programmed to believe from childhood, or what I kind of have adapted and believe changed for myself? And so then that's a healthier place, because you integrate it, you're congruent, but you can also then reject it and say no. And it's not just because of what I've been pre-programmed, but it's what you're evaluating it, saying this doesn't fit with who I want to be as well. Does that make sense?
Because I'm thinking, if you've got like a super rigid self-structure, when you experience certain things, you're probably gonna kind of reject certain aspects of it and allow other aspects to kind of come into the self-structure. Whereas if you're open, you can kind of look at it more broadly, and then you can kind of take it from all the different angles. Like you're saying with the yawn example, if you immediately think, oh, I must be boring them, I'm not interested to talk to, you kind of reject all of the aspects that they could be tired, and you probably, like, although you might kind of see them, you won't allow the different kind of behaviors that they're displaying of tiredness. You just won't even kind of be consciously aware of those at all. So if you're more open, then all of those different kind of angles you'll be evaluating and weighing up, and
So the key thing then is, so theory is nice and it sounds good, but how do you even apply it? So how do you apply this to your life?
I think that's always what I think is the harder part, because like you say, it's easy to read the books, read all the theory and kind of understand what it's saying, but to be kind of aware of it in the moment is quite tricky. So I think at the moment I'm at the stage where I try my hardest to be aware of it in the exact present moment, but I quite often like to reflect on things and use different experiences and things that I've come across in my life. And even it might even be like 5 minutes later that I'm reflecting, or it could be on the evening or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But
so trying to be aware of it in the moment, which can be hard, because if it's a self-structure that you've had for a long time, you might not even be fully aware of the full kind of capacity of it, or the aspects of it. But then the reflection bit is really good, even whether it's 5 minutes, an hour later, the next day. So the reflection is good, because then you can start to evaluate things. But because if we keep thinking about identity, and so self-structure, identity, they're patterns of behavior. So if we view it as a pattern of behavior, pattern of thinking, we can then look at trying to change the pattern quicker. So if we go with the example you said about boring, so this might be tricky, because how many times do people yawn when you're talking to them? It's not all the time.
No.
If we go with, let's say if you're doing lots of training though, like that's your job, this is going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
So if you then try and be aware of it in the moment, you're trying to teach and assess if you're being boring by subtle cues or yawns. And then if you're reflecting it afterwards, you might think the training went really well, but like 5 people yawned, and then you've got to try and wait up and everything. But there is things you can do beforehand then.
Okay.
So if you're already aware of it, then beforehand you can go in and you can look at different things like what time of the day is it?
Yeah.
And you can also assess like how often would I yawn? And what does yawning mean? Does it mean you're boring?
Yeah.
So you can start to pick apart what yawning is and also the time of the day. So then you can even predict if it's a full training day, people are more likely going to yawn after lunch break, after they've had the food, when they are tired, not because of being bored. And then you can look at, well, my experience is very similar. So if I was on training after lunch, I wouldn't want to show that I'm rude and that think it's boring. So I'd try and hide my yawns and things because that's probably what would go with it. So beforehand, you can start to pick things apart and prepare for it, but you can then also allow them some grace, can't you? Because you can say, well, are they allowed to yawn? Yawning is when you need more oxygen. And so it's just a normal process. And then if one person yawns, it triggers others. Because of the evolutionary response. So then we can give people grace. We can then try and detach the meaning that it doesn't mean that I'm a boring person. It means they need more oxygen. They're tired after lunch. And then you could also then integrate different activities, especially after lunch, where there's more movement. And so there's more chance of them moving around, or workshops or different kind of activities where they're interacting more with each other. And then it'd be interesting then to like reflect and check how your experience was.
Yeah, of course. No, that makes sense as well, because like you say, I think if it was a full day of training, particularly after, you've had your meal during the middle of the day, you're definitely more prone to be yawning and things like that. And I think it would change the perspective if they were doing groups and someone did still yawn, then I think that does remove they must be, bored of me, because it's like kind of less directed towards you. So then it's probably still good to go, if people are yawning at that point, it's even more evidence that it's probably less about you and more about just the general tiredness. And training courses can be quite intense, can't they, if it's a full day thing?
And so then you can also run little experiments as well. So you could put your favorite film on and try and find your favorite longest film. So even if you went to the cinema to watch a 3-hour film, how many times would you yawn? And so if you check these kind of things, you're likely to yawn a lot. But does it mean that the film was boring?
No.
Or if you go to a training course, or even if you just listen to someone speak for 10, 15 minutes, can you maintain your whole attention for that time? Or even if it was half an hour, or if you're going to a training course yourself. So again, that then can be integrated into your self-structure, that the meaning for yawning or it holding your attention for that whole time isn't really about the other person. So then you give them some grace, but then it starts to give you some grace too, because you're saying, and by grace I mean like some wiggle room, some freedom, and because you're saying they're allowed to. So it's like an acceptance kind of thing. They're allowed to shift their attention and not be fully focused on me and my training. Just like I'm allowed to deliver this course, and they might find some bits not as interesting, because not every aspect of even what we're talking about now might be interesting.
Of course.
So it's giving yourself a bit of, I keep saying grace, but I feel like there's a better word that I'm not using, but it's that kind of acceptance and, I can't think of a better word for it.
Well, acceptance is what came to mind for me. It's like, accepting that if they are allowed to have periods where their attention's drawn away or they're not fully focused, then you're also allowed to kind of have that as the one delivering it. And there might be parts where you're really enthusiastic in what you're delivering, and there might be parts where you have to go through it because it's part of the training, but you might not even find that as interesting as well. And in little ways, it could be that if you don't find it as interesting to deliver, you might be kind of less emotive and less kind of expressive in the way that it's being delivered as well. And like you say, if you accept that within yourself, then it's okay if there's parts where you kind of just go through it. As long as you cover the content, it's okay that it's not as entertaining for whoever.
Yeah, and part of what we're talking about is that rejection or that fear of people not enjoying it as much or paying full attention, because then that means that I'm boring or whatever you determine that it means. So when we talk about self-structure or identity, there's a lot of fear that what if I'm not this person that I think I am, and so there's the fear can then drive it. So like you're saying, if you're delivering some bits, if you're fully in the moment, kind of in the flow, performing really well in the training, everyone might be entertained and listening, but then the bits where you're not even that interested in, you're not going to focus as much, and then you might be more thinking about them, so then fear can creep in, and then you're not sure what, like, you kind of have got too many things going on in your head. Because you're focusing on them, you're focused on the content, you're focused on, am I doing a good enough job, am I being boring? And so then you're trying to juggle all of that, so you're not like in that flow state. And your kind of fear is ruling it or interfering, really.
Like you say, I do think that the flow state's important, and I think it, like you were saying, we've spoke about this previously, but it's interesting how it applies across like multiple areas of your life. And the more that you kind of, it's an interesting one where, because I referred to it earlier, if I'm trying to be consciously aware in the moment all the time, I'm also aware that I don't want to be drawn out of the present moment and thinking about, oh, well, if I responded this way or that way. And sometimes I think that's the challenge, because the self-structure is almost like defined in the way that you're going to react and behave in situations. So then the more aware of it you become, you're not acting how you would usually act, but you also kind of want to still be in the present moment, if that makes sense. Because like I always feel that if I'm too kind of drawn away from the present moment, then the way that I would respond, react, behave, or whatever it is in the situation might just feel, not only does it feel different because it's different to what I'm usually doing, it's almost like it doesn't match with the situation, because like being too aware draws you out of it, if that makes sense.
So I always use this example with my kids from The Matrix, where Neo is fighting Morpheus in the, I forget what they call it now, in that makeshift room that they create. Like the training room. Training room, and then he basically says, stop trying to hit me and hit me. Because that's the thing, isn't it? So when you're trying to be aware of all of these different things and trying to perform, and you're not in that flow state, you're trying to hit him when he's saying, stop trying to hit me and just hit me, because he's saying, get in the flow state and you'll be able to do it. So
that's a good example.
Just to conclude things then, we're saying there's things you can do before anything. You can be aware of it in the moment, but ideally you want to be in the flow state in the moment. You can reflect on it afterwards, and then you can challenge your self-concept compared to these experiences. So there is some ways you can actually change your self-concept and integrate those experiences.